everyone. I'm here with Mike Chen.
What up?
Creator of various YouTube channels, but particularly Strictly Dumpling, which I've been watching for the last 6 years. He's in.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's great to have you here.
Thank you.
First of all, Mike's in Mexico right now. Right now we're in Toluca, so we're doing a bit of a food run all over the place.
Yes.
And I wanted to take advantage of Mike being here, and thank you so much for accepting to
No
do
worries.
this interview. Thanks, Mike. So, can you tell us a bit about how you started?
Well, I started because I wanted to promote traditional Chinese culture. So the first channel we created was called Off the Great Wall. A lot of people, if you're Asian, you might remember that. It's a lot of Asian skits, funny stuff, traditional cultural stuff, and that's really where my passion lies. Because I feel like a lot of Chinese people don't understand true traditional culture. I mean, like, traditional culture is beautiful, you know, Chinese traditional culture. Now it's like, what do you know of it? Most people think of, oh yeah, Mulan, like, okay, but did Mulan really join the army to better herself, or, you know, meet a guy and somehow spoke English in ancient China? Like, it's part of the culture. It's the most beautiful part. That's why Disney took it. But the true story is often still buried.
Right.
You know, most people don't even know the real stories behind some of the popular tales that's come to the West.
Right.
So I want to talk about that. I want to promote that, and I feel like we, as, you know, Chinese or Asians in general, like, we all have. There's a huge, long history, beautiful history, and we should, you know, get to know that.
Definitely. I think that's one of the things that really attracted me to your channel, because I am part Chinese, Macanese, and I really like that you embrace that part of you, because we both grew up. He grew up in the States, I grew up in Australia, and I was rejected a lot for being Chinese.
Sure,
right?
sure.
So to see somebody who embraces the culture and really wants to promote it, that's amazing. So
Well, thank you.
yeah, you're having a great impact on
Well,
Asians.
the goal is, like, I mean, I grew up in a white predominant, you know, society, and I often feel like I don't belong. I want to be white. I don't know who I am, and I know a lot of people are in the same situation, but and then you get to a point where you're kind of like, oh, I'm kind of ashamed of my parents. I'm kind of ashamed of being Asian, and that's not the right mindset. Like, you have a lot to be proud of. So
Exactly. So, what would be the most memorable city or country that you've visited?
My favorite is always Japan. I love it because Japan has, like, a lot of Han Dynasty culture, because a lot of times, you know, during history, Japanese sent people into China during the Tang Dynasty to learn the culture and bring it back, and so there's a lot of traditional culture in Japan that's very similar to Chinese culture. And Chinese culture, traditional culture, is something that's very hard to find in mainland China. So I like to go to Japan and just really see that you know, that tradition still being alive in some part of the world. I'm not sitting here saying like Japanese culture is Chinese culture, but it's very similar. The heritage is very similar. So it just really makes me feel at peace being there, and also the food is great. So love Japan.
Okay. And is there a city that or a country that once you've been there, you're like, I could move here?
Singapore.
Singapore.
I love Singapore. I love the people. It's just, I think it's just funny because I like going to a country full of Asians that just speaks English. I mean, they speak more, like, English is obviously one of the 3 languages over there, but 2, 3 maybe languages over there, but it's one of the languages that people predominantly speak. It's just really interesting seeing, like, 70, 80-year-old aunties and uncles, like, perfect English. How you doing? How you doing, Sonny?
How you doing?
So I really enjoy it. I love the food. I love the people. Like I said, only reason I can't live there, it's so bloody hot and humid. It's like a steam bath over there all year round. So, but otherwise, I will move there tomorrow.
Oh, okay. So what have you thought of Mexico?
I adore okay. So I think people like me, and I'm very ignorant in certain aspects, because, and this is why I always tell people to travel more, because when you are able to travel and see everything firsthand, then you can come up with your own assessments. Before coming into Mexico, obviously, I think most people in America is like, it's pretty dangerous. Like, we don't know if it's the whole country that's dangerous, but we just know it's pretty, I mean, might get kidnapped. Like, that's like the thoughts that pop in your head whenever you think of, a lot of people think of Mexico, and that's, you know, same for me. I went to some pretty, you know, troubling areas on this trip that even
Yeah.
even you said I shouldn't.
Yeah, he went to Michoacan, and it has a grade 4 classification.
Yeah,
right
it's
now
a
in the
4.
States.
Yeah, it's
So-
basically like if you go on the State Department website in the U.S. it says, "Do not go there."
And he was just there.
I was just there.
Actually, we called before Mike came out, and he's like, "I'm gonna be in Morelia," and my mind went, "God, I hope he's safe." But I knew he was traveling with
Yeah.
locals, so I thought that's the best way to go.
Right.
That's the best way to go.
Although that's sometimes the assumption. When I got here, it was nothing but warmth, and this is not saying you shouldn't be careful. You should definitely be careful. Like before I came here, I made sure I had a local friend of mine take me throughout the entire trip I'm here.
Right.
I'm not going to be ignorant enough to just be like, it's fine, and these. I mean, there's a warning for a reason, but it also shouldn't be exaggerated to the point where like, oh, just don't go to Mexico. Go to different places in the world and see it for yourself. And when I came here, people were so warm and so generous. Just the most lovely, sincerely lovely people. Really sincerely lovely people. So I'm actually really, really touched just being around people here. So I love my trip. I'll definitely be back. But it's been great.
Fantastic. So what are your passions apart from the things that we've already seen that you've shared on YouTube? Perhaps a passion that you haven't really shared on your videos, hobbies?
I mean, my favorite thing to do right now is to sit in my apartment. I love it.
Yeah.
I don't get to do it often, but I love I got a floor couch. I got a really nice fluffy carpet. So I love just laying there and putting on movie after movie, and just like I moved to Seattle, so it'll rain. So because I love rain, and just having a rain outside and lay there and just watch a movie. It's my favorite thing to do in the world. Like I'm approaching the point where I'm like, I just don't want to do anything. Like I'm working all the time, and I love it. But when I'm home, like I don't want to. Like hiking, it's a lot of work. Like I work out a lot anyway, so.
And I want to add like parentheses.
Yeah.
Here. As a viewer, you think it's quite simple, what you do. And I've been with Mike the last couple of days, and it is hard work, and it's not as simple as what one would imagine, right? So I can imagine that once you get home, you're just like you want to chill out and just disconnect from everything.
Yeah.
That's like your favorite passion right now.
Yeah, I love it. It's just really nice. Like I don't know.
Yeah, it's a lovely apartment.
I used to love other stuff like bowling and volleyball, and I did love hiking, canoeing. I still love nature. I love skiing. But right now my favorite thing is just laying on the floor of my apartment with some tea and a Forrest Gump movie.
Oh yeah, is that your favorite?
That's my favorite. My favorite movie of all time.
Life is
like box chocolates. Did you know?
Never
Did you know? You remember that quote? Everybody remembers that quote wrong. It's the Mandela effect. What's the quote?
Life is like a box of chocolate. You never know what you're gonna get.
Life was like a box of chocolates.
I'm gonna bet you anything.
Look it up right now.
I'll look it up.
Look it up right now.
Yeah.
It's a Mandela effect. I think we're
Life was like.
Yeah. I also remember that life's like a box of chocolate. Life's like a box of chocolate. That's the quote. It's not. Life was like a box of chocolate. It's the Mandela effect. We are like in a crazy separate dimension right now.
I'm gonna look it up.
You know what the Mandela effect is?
No.
Mandela effect is there are things we are sure we remember.
Right.
But then it turned out to be
totally
not the case.
Different. Okay.
So there's a scientific, science says there's different dimensions. So some people are saying like it could be like somehow our past was changed so that our future was modified into a different timeline or a different dimension. So there is another dimension where it is life is like a box of chocolates, but we are now in the dimension of
life was like a box of chocolates. I'm gonna look that up.
Look
so
it up.
That it's not. This is gonna be like ... suspense. So I have just a couple more questions. What advice would you give to people starting out
on YouTube?
Yeah.
You better have a full-time job somewhere.
So
That's my advice.
Another income.
I mean,
back on?
I mean, right now YouTube is just
saturated.
Way more saturated than when I started. So I don't even know how I would start right now.
probably the key
It's
would be
hard.
starting with like a passion where you're not.
Yeah, I mean, like,
It's not work for you. You're actually dedicating the time because it's something that's fun and passionate for you.
I think perception of YouTube has changed a lot. YouTube used to be like, do it for the passion. But
Right.
now, if you ask kids, they want their careers to be YouTubers.
Oh,
People who
right.
meet me, they're like, hey, can I do what you do so I can earn a bunch of money and travel around the world? I'm like, it doesn't work like that.
Exactly.
It's not that simple. There's no secret of it. It's hard work. It's sometimes often luck. So if it's not something you want to do for free for a very long time and have the mentality that that's what's going to happen,
Right.
then you can't do it.
Right. Yeah, you have to have like your heart in
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
Because you're not making money in the first. Well, some people may never make money.
Like for example, how long did it take for you to like get a
Like I said, I joined at a time where it was much
different?
easier.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like nowadays, I mean, I have friends who's been doing it for 5-6 years. They can't make a living on it.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at the percentage of people making a living on YouTube, it's less than 1%,
Oh, jeez.
and then even less than that makes them, okay living. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm not saying don't do it. I'm saying do it for the right reasons. If you do it just for money
Exactly.
and things like that, you're gonna give up really quick because
Right.
you're not making it.
Right. So my last question is, I know you have kind of like a celebrity status on YouTube, and I've seen fans approach Mike here in Mexico, and it's so fantastic because you see the impact. Really, you're getting to everyone around the world. So Mike is single. Mike is single for all you gals out there, and I want to ask you, Mike, what are you looking for in a girl? In a partner.
I'm looking for a girl who.
An Aussie.
I'm looking for a girl who's female that likes men.
No.
Just
It's
kidding.
broad in that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking for someone who's really kind. Like, I think the first word
Yes.
would be she's really kind, and not materialistic.
Right.
I lived in New York. That's kind of hard to come by. Someone who's really caring. I mean, I feel like for me, I could list qualities, and it'll probably be very cliche, but honestly, it's also like a gut fit kind of thing, where it's like a predestined. Like you feel like it's right. Like it could be anybody, and you just like you're with them, and you feel like
Connect.
yeah, like this is the right person. Like this is the person I'm around that I want to be around for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
I feel good when I'm around them. I don't feel stressed. Like I got out of my last relationship because a lot of times it was just very stressful. Like, oh, is she mad about this? Is she mad about that? It was very difficult. Like relationships is difficult. It's hard work, but it shouldn't be stressed. Like you shouldn't see your partner and be like, it's like you don't want to see your partner and be like, I gotta go to work today and like deal with this. You know what I mean? So it's a comfort. It's a level of comfort. So I can't really say what I'm looking for. But if you ask my mom,
because originally that was my question. Has your mom succeeded in
No,
setting
she
you
has
up
not.
yet? Because that's
her
what I asked you
philosophy,
the first day.
her philosophy is as long as she's Chinese and good at housework, good
You
enough
got
for
it.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like,
That's very Chinese.
wow, that's super Chinese.
Super Chinese.
Yeah.
No, but we hope that someone's gonna come along. Someone will with time.
I mean, I'm also okay. Like, I'm very happy being single.
Yeah.
Like, I don't feel lonely.
You're
I'm busy all the time.
You're busy.
Like, I'm very happy right now. But if someone does come along that works, yeah, it'll be great.
Sweet. Thank you so much, Mike.
No problem, Sandy.
Chinita Food and Travel.
See you later,
Bye.
alligator.